Hey guys, welcome back to Fly By Night Reviews Hot Takes. I'm your host, Kiren.
No.
Today, me and Dom are going to discuss the controversial views of Martin Scorsese. This is actually a kind of like, I guess he doubled down recently. He said this in the past about maybe a year ago, uh, claiming that comic book movies weren't real like cinema, or they were kind of like detrimental. And
Right.
I think he sort of doubled down on it again recently. Hence the reason why it's kind of like everybody's kind of talking about it, especially comic book fans. But I don't know. What do you think about his
I never
views?
took it as. I mean, did he? I don't know if he actually said comic book movies per se, but I know he definitely meant like he definitely said franchise movies, which the comic book movies are definitely in that vein. Like
Yeah,
Star Wars and all that kind of stuff.
yeah. I
But
think
still, it's just kind of get off my lawn, kids, kind of thing.
yeah. I mean, even if he meant franchise movies, like that's what pretty much what comic book movies are now.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I kind of part of me agrees with him because especially lately, just with like, every big movie now in the theater is a comic book movie. Like me, I mean,
Right.
it's hard to remember when comic book movies weren't like the biggest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like not just his films, but other films that are really good don't get the same kind of reception because they're not a comic book movie. So they
Right.
kind
They're
of
not
like,
people that aren't invested in the stories already. It's like you have it's a struggle to get some kind of new IP going.
yeah, exactly. And I think people, you know, like each generation, they kind of like miss out on some of these old classic movies or like the really good films that are like, acting's really good, the stories are really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Scorsese fan. I like his movies a lot. A lot,
Right.
he does have a lot of like gangster movies, like kind of Italian
Right.
mobster movies, um, but I think he's 80 years old and he's still putting out great stuff. Even his like recent movie that's coming out soon looks really good. I saw we saw the trailer or whatever. But yeah, I mean, yeah, part of me is just like kind of like now that we've got a taste of just the quality of these comic movies are kind of like they're getting a
Especially
little
if they're
worse,
kind of dipping. Yeah.
and you start to notice that people want more quality stuff, and
Yeah.
I can kind of I know what he's talking about, in some aspects.
Right. It's just the way he does it. It kind of comes off as old man saying "get off my lawn" kind of thing.
Well, he is an old man, I guess.
Yeah.
but uh, but yeah, I mean, I think someone made a good point. I was watching a video, and someone made a good point about like all the films that he makes. Because I saw The Irishman, and that was like a Netflix film that he made. I think it
I
was
remember.
like
Yeah.
I think it was in the theater for like a week or something, but it was mainly on Netflix. But honestly, I think the future for his types of films are like streaming because it seems like with the streaming platform, you're able to kind of like you know take more risks without the financial risk of releasing in the theater and not getting a good reception.
Right.
And I honestly think like also the shows now that are coming out, well, whether it be like HBO or
Disney
Disney Plus,
Plus or
whatever,
anything. Yeah.
the quality is so high that it's almost like you're watching movies at home now. So there's that like level of like, oh, why
Yeah.
should I go to the movies to see this kind of drama when I can just watch it at home and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. It was kind of sad that like the smaller movies are kind of getting pushed aside, and streaming is where you're gonna have to catch them. And sometimes some of those movies are better seen on this big screen. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I think if I had a choice, if like movies weren't so damn expensive, I mean, it's just
yeah.
like we saw The Exorcist the other day, and we didn't even pay for the tickets. We just got snacks, and the snacks were like $20 for like two sodas and a bag of chips or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would definitely go see more indie films if they were in the theater, if it was cheaper. I mean,
Right.
but when you're spending, $60 to take your family to the theater, you want to kind of like go to these big event movies, and
Hmm.
that's kind of why comic book movies are so, popular. It's like, you know, in a way they kind of saved movies, like especially nowadays.
Yeah, they saved the big they saved the chains, but they've definitely also kind of hurt a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, especially after COVID, I think comic book movies kind of were a big part of like the people getting back into the theaters and all that stuff. So, yeah, I think it's a little bit of a, maybe he doesn't truly understand like the whole, these movies were like laughed at for so long, like they weren't taken seriously. And then
Yeah,
now it's like they're kind of like the big money maker and everybody's talking about them. So there's probably a little bit of jealousy in there, I think.
because more attention is being shown to these huge movies and smaller movies his movies aren't necessarily small, but they're definitely not these epic freaking spectacle movies like comic book movies are, or the Fast and the Furious movies. It's just his are more intimate movies. That's what I'm
Yeah,
looking for.
that's pretty. I mean, and if Oppenheimer wasn't proof that people will go to the theater and sit through a 3 hour drama with like talking, like that was actually
Mm-hmm.
very surprising to me because that movie was kind of very long and sort of like drawn out, and it still made
Self
almost a
indulgent.
billion. So I honestly think, yeah, maybe it's just like you have to have the right director that people are kind of excited about, and even though
Yeah.
Scorsese's a top-notch director, he's still kind of like our generation. As kids growing up, like we know but a lot of younger kids probably like, who's that? Like, I don't know who that is. I know Christopher Nolan. I don't know,
Right.
whatever, but yeah. Um, what do you guys think about his comments? Do you guys agree with him? Do you feel like comic movies are kind of like a bad for cinema or good? Let us know in the comments, and make sure you leave us a like and subscribe, and let us know what you think of these hot takes videos. We want to know. But on that note, we will catch you next time.
Peace.